Welcome back to the Wyckoff Crypto discussion, episode number 29. As usual, today we will study the crypto market through the lens of the Wyckoff method. This information is for educational purpose only, is not investment recommendation. Please stop the video and read the disclaimer. As usual, here's the link to the Wyckoff Crypto Trading Lab, our Discord channel. In the next week, we'll launch the paid subscription. If you want to receive our updates on Bitcoin, altcoins, crypto futures, almost on a daily basis, join us. It's still free for now. If you have any issue with the Discord link, please contact us via email. We'll send you an alternative link. Now, what's the context of the market? Today, I've decided to include 4 instruments: S&P, Dow Jones Index, Bitcoin, and the Shitcoin Index, our low-cap cryptocurrency index. What do we see on these 4 charts? After the rotational supply that has emerged in early March at point 1, the market has recovered. The Dow Jones Industrial is leading. The S&P is currently testing the top of the last capitulation bar, and the oversupply signature is decreasing, which is a constructive element. Bitcoin is still in a large accumulation structure that does not show distributional signs, and what's more important for us as speculators is the fact that low caps are leading the crypto market. In last week, some supply is coming in the Shitcoin Index around the level of the overbought trend line, and this is a classic spot where institutions take some profits. But there's definitely a lot of momentum here, and in the long run, there are much higher targets for all of these indexes. And we will discuss Bitcoin, the Shitcoin Index on the daily time frame. But before that, Roman, what are your thoughts here?
Well, I mean, it's a very simple question that I usually ask students. What is the trend? What do you guys see? What is the trend? We are making higher highs, higher lows, and it is being repeated throughout. So the trend is up still. I mean, like, we could argue here that we're in some kind of upsloping consolidation. That's a possibility, something like this. But the trend is up. So until it's broken, until we experience a meaningful change of behavior, until the supply comes in and the result increases with that emergence of the supply, we still should be bullish. And we should be noting, obviously, the conditions where demand deteriorates. But for now, we don't necessarily see the emergence of the distributional effort and power. And then looking just at Bitcoin, how we spend time here, then shorter time here, then the last reaction is almost immediately being negated. I mean, we're gonna go to much closer looks here, but on the big picture, you kind of could see how reactions are becoming smaller and how supply is diminishing. So that's a just continuation. Shitcoin, as we've talked about this a lot, in this area and in this area, is outperforming. And it's kind of interesting how Alicia put here the Dow and Shitcoin. I would probably, like, if for comparison purposes, would be thinking more like Russell for small caps, because Russell is definitely leading performance. So the story of the leadership in crypto world is kind of similar to the story of the leadership in the stock market as well, so which is very interesting. All right.
So here's Bitcoin weekly and intraday perspective. So we can see here that supply is decreasing on the weekly. This information is extremely important. It's a sign that supply is almost exhausted. Also, look at the recovery after that big red down bar on the weekly chart. And when you look at the intraday time frame, I'm really impressed here because Monday's price action at point 3 is very reminiscent of what we have seen at point 1. It's almost a fractal. So let's compare these 2 analogs, and the volume, the supply that's coming in at point 3 is much less than the supply emerging at point 1. So now we are currently testing this level. I think it's important to see what kind of test we will see here on the intraday. For example, we can have a higher low or a slightly lower low but what really matters is the fact that supply is exhausted. Your remarks, Roman?
Yeah, let's come back to our analysis that we had somewhere here at this point. We said that we will have the rally and we're going to come back, maybe like in the upthrust type of manner, and we're going to come back into the trading range and make that one more higher low and then go up. And I think that in the way, that's exactly what we saw, just the strength is just too much. So the rally has extended and then the higher low is not that deep. So just wanted to make that remark. So that's number one. The second one is that you could consider one being a sign of strength to this formation right here. You could consider 3 being a sign of strength to this formation right here. So now we're kind of going into another sign of strength and then probably continuation. This sequence of events where, again, we have significant changes of behavior, and then we have somewhat of a lesser significance change of behavior. I mean, like, look at the downward spreads. They are so different. They're just showing that whatever selling came is not that aggressive, so therefore do not expect a very pronounced reaction. And that is suggestive of quicker recovery and quicker breakout to the new highs. And I think that once we go here, we're probably going to accelerate. And we're probably going to accelerate, and that would lead us to our targets of 100,000, 100,000 plus. So we'll just kind of have to see how that's going to unfold. And Alicia, I was thinking a lot about, if that is to happen, and obviously we don't know whether it will happen or not. We're talking only in probabilities. Is there a high probability of the continuation? Yes. Will it happen? Well, there is some chance that it might not happen. But if it does happen, I was thinking, Alicia, of what are the strategies for us, to trade Bitcoin itself. So I mean, obviously, if you're already in the position, then holding. Maybe add in at the opportunistic times is going to be the most beneficial. But also, if you're not holding it, if you're a trader, I was thinking that trading, swing trading it, based on the large intraday time frame and leveraging it a little bit more than just a cash position would be probably the strategy. What are your thoughts on this, Alessia?
Yes, I think that we should really pay attention to the intraday time frame for Bitcoin. And also, I think that this scenario could be a bit tricky because Bitcoin is not leading the market. And sometimes what we see that laggards basically can follow the rest of the market and then have a stepping stone accumulation. So we really have to be very careful when you use a lot of leverage. This is the message that I want to deliver
absolutely.
here.
And obviously, I'm talking to someone, to the listeners who have been trading this market for a while, who knows how the leverage works, who are, more of the advanced traders, not the beginners. For the beginners, just, if you're in a position, you're still holding, there is no distributional signs, at least yet. So with that, let's go to the next slide.
So the shitcoin is definitely leading the market. And so this is the index where we want to pick our candidates in general. But let's focus on the other indexes too. So we see high lows on all the indexes. But what I would really love to see right now is some signs of the emergence of the demand. For example, good demand bar, a breakout, something like that. For now, we just see decreasing supply. So it's almost a tricky scenario. We are just waiting for that confirmation to the upside. What do you think about this strategy, Roman?
Well, yeah, absolutely. We need some kind of confirmation that we could break out of those, formations. There could be an alternative scenario. We don't see that breakout yet. It's just like, okay, something like this going into some kind of consolidation, continuation. And then here we might just try to get out and then consolidate again. Try to get out, consolidate, try to get out, and then go back into the consolidation. So when we talk about this type of bar, that is a breakout bar, the key here is going to be the extension of the progress to the close, and then also what kind of character of the volume we're going to have here. Is there going to be some supply there or not? Because the last time we approached it here, we did not have a lot of supply, so that's an encouraging sign. Okay, and another thought here, mid caps, Alicia, to me look a little bit better, maybe just because they're closer to the resistance here than, let's say, DeFi or especially exchange token. So I wonder if the next area for us to look for the selection would be in mid caps. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. And chart like Chelling are already performing much better than last week. So I think it's very important observation. Also, I'm thinking that the exchange token index could be in a much larger formation.
Yeah.
Because when we see all this incredible bull run, I think that it could take more time to consolidate and then go to the upside. So there is also this kind of low probability scenario, but still important scenario where we can see some kind of profit taking on the shitcoin index, and that profit taking could take down many indexes and create a potential phase C of a larger formation. I think that we should absolutely take into consideration this scenario too, because we have to be tactical always.
And I'm kind of like very notoriously entering bullish positions in phase B, and I'm kind of seeing that look everywhere, and I'm getting excited. So knowing that, and this is just one of the things, guys, that you might think about it, even like just think about this. If you notice those type of mistakes in your trading, when let's say like, okay, well, I'm entering early in phase B. What does it mean? This means that when you go in that situation, decrease your size and then wait for the confirmation that it was phase C rather than B. And if indeed it turns out to be phase C and you still have some kind of, move to the downside, so make sure that you either, protect yourself with the smaller size, or you, let's say, add to the position when recovery starts. Just because, as we said, and this was very clear in our messages, this is a change of behavior. This is a change of behavior, and this suggests a trading range. And the biggest question is, have we resolved it or not? All right, let's go to the next slide.
So this is a nice candidate for swing trading. So we see here nice backing up action after this up move, very interesting. So I think that this is a good candidate for swing trading, also because it has some comparative strength right now against Bitcoin. So your remarks, Roman?
Yeah, weaker reaction in Bitcoin, and we just don't do anything here. And we're so flat. Yeah, I really like this this candidate. Is this on Kraken?
No.
Then why are we looking at this? But this one is.
No, Roman. But I have a candidate on Kraken.
Seriously? Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So I really love this chart. So this is a logarithmic scale. So what we see here, first accumulation structure, and then a confirmed reaccumulation, stepping stone count that projects the same target around 23 cents. But what I really like about this chart is the fact that this whole structure could be a big accumulation. So basically, this major backing up action could really project a much higher target. So we really have to be focused on this chart. And for this reason, I also take in consideration the intraday, just for looking to point of entry in the intraday, and then using the concept developed by Roman of the universal trader that just go into different time frame, we could trade this asset very well. So let's see how it will develop. Roman, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm liking this asset a lot. It's kind of, we're seeing accumulation on the way up. They just accumulate on each of the rallies, and it's not done yet. So yeah, definitely we might have a runaway market right here.
So this is the intraday. So we see this big structure. Some supply is emerged on the last rally, but we are holding. So we are all until we are holding. I think it's very constructive. So maybe some testing in the next days, but we are almost ready to go, I think.
Yeah, this supply is gonna, obviously, like it's a little bit more than here, so it just tells you like I'm gonna stay here for a while, and it does. But as we approach this area, you'll have to assess like what kind of supply is coming in. Is it less than here? And most likely it will be less. So yeah, I would say like we are very close to breaking out. So looks like a very, very good candidate, Alessio.
Yes, I like it. It's a very interesting structural position. This is available on Kraken, Roman, but it's already going to the upside. So I think that we have to be very tactical. And but I like the overall structure. We will see a lot of demand in the last in the second half of the chart, and look at logarithmic scale. So I think there is still some room to grow here.
Yeah. Obviously, when we see already this, and we know now, now I know. So I've been exposed to the cryptos, thanks for Alessio, for quite some time, but I started trading it only a month ago. So you already know when it moves, it kind of moves. By the way, I was thinking, guys, about some of the things that could be helpful to us as a community, like some filters, and some of you were discussing actually, how do you filter your selection? So obviously we go through, all of them or majority of them, and we look at the structure, we look at the price and volume, but, filters that indicate the presence of buying, that's what I think that we should be extremely interested in. And you could just, filter just based on the price itself, right? The movement of the price or the momentum of the price. You could create those type of filters. But also what is very valuable is look at how the volume is increasing in this area. So if your filter is going to be based on give me all of the assets, the cryptocurrencies that are expanding in price, and then also the volume signature expands, and catch them here, so as your scan, and then enter them on the next reaction. And that would be a really, really good strategy. And every time something like this happens, you kind of put this on your radar, and then you just wait for the reaction, wait for the reaction, wait for the reaction, and then enter. So here, obviously we would want to wait for the reaction, but this is a big extension already. Alessio, what do you think about that filter just based on?
Yes, there are volume filters on TradingView, Roman. In the past, I used a lot of volume filters to scan for low volatility areas. But right now, I just have a watch list of 200 assets, and I go.
Yeah. I mean, like you don't have to go through all like whatever it is, 8,000 of them, right? It's just a lot. You could just define the somewhat limited universe, like Alessio was saying, like 200 of them, and you just go through them on the daily, weekly basis. And then also you could have a scan, and then whatever comes on the scan, you just look at that. Just thoughts that I have on as I start trading this market. Okay, Alessio, what's next?
So beautiful round structure here. What we see, what do we see here? Basically, a lot of accumulation on the way up, then that shakeout action. But we are still in that structure, and right now I would like to see a continuation to the upside, because if this asset can continue to the upside, I think that will accelerate. So what do you think about this, Roman?
Yeah, some supply is coming in right here. So, but then it goes down and the price holds. So this is an element of vertical absorption around the resistance. So from here, yeah, obviously continuation. When vertical absorption happens, there is no reason to have a reaction because supply has already been absorbed. So as a confirmation, we should see higher prices. Okay.
So this is back. We have shown this very interesting call last week on BAT, and many of you on our Discord channel are asking for targets. So my conservative target for long term is around $5, but I think that we could potentially use intraday charts, intraday PNF charts, to monitor the intermediate targets on BAT, and I think it's very interesting technique. This. So look at this, Roman. This is a 3% scaling chart, and look how beautiful these targets are. So basically, they are almost accurate to the cent. So
I wonder. I mean, like for me, the question here, and I do hold the position in BAT. I opened it somewhere here at 07, somewhere here on the 8th. So the question here is, if we have those targets where the price stops, right? What should we expect? Should we expect this, or should we expect like less of the consolidation and then continuation? What do you think?
well, generally, when we are in the speculative mode, the reaccumulation are short in duration. So this is the speculative, full speculative mode.
Yeah.
But I think that if you are trading on the intraday, these moves are really big moves when you think about they can develop in just a few days. So
yeah. If you're a long-term holder, I mean, and you look at the long-term targets around $5, and I was asking Alicia, about the PNF on BAT. I don't even want to do anything until I either hit the target or be close to that, or I see some kind of failure. And failure would come with like, this big bars to the downside with a lot of supply signature, or maybe after the very much like vertical climactic run and so on and so forth. So, but along the way, as Alessia has said, you can take some profit, and it's very reasonable to take some profits. I mean, like it doubles, you can take a little bit off and just decrease your risk. Obviously, guys, you know that doubling in cryptos, it means nothing, right? So you could go to much higher prices. So I think Alessio's advice of like seeing what's going to happen here around the resistance and how quickly we could resolve this. So it's the quickness of the resolution. I think that's what's important. The more we stay at the same place, the more there is a threat of the demand going away from this currency, and then kind of being in the inactive zone. So hopefully we're just going to punch through. All right, Alessio. So
yes.
Anything else?
Well, about this chart, I think that this market is very fast. So if you are trading just few assets, you can really go in and out of one asset and taking profits, adding to the position, and conduct a proper campaign. But if you are trading, for example, 10 or 20 cryptocurrency at the same time, it became more difficult to manage campaign position. So my idea is that when you have these high targets, and $5 is just a conservative target in this case. So let's remember this: it's a conservative. There are higher targets in the long term. I think that a good strategy is to have kind of lazy style when you trade these big campaigns, and then focus on the intraday on other assets. And what do you think about this strategy, Roman?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's why kind of like I started thinking about filtering and recognizing what starts to move right now, because just in general, it just feels like there is a lot of things that are moving and moving nicely. So you want to stay invested, but at the same time, if you're a trader, you want to pick your selection and jump from one to another depending on how they move. Having said this, I mean, like for me personally, Alessia, with this particular position, I just want to see a realization of higher targets. So I'm definitely going to stay in until either the failure or we reach the target and then we fail in the target zone. So that's my strategy with this, with BAT, let's say. Okay.
Great.
Alessia, final conclusions, thoughts?
A very interesting session. So we stay with the trend of the market, and join us our Discord channel because it's still free.
Okay, yeah, sounds great. And thank you all at the Discord channel. You guys are great and awesome. The discussions that you have are extremely interesting. So Alessia and I, we're looking forward to working with you closer. Thank you, and bye-bye.